what's up guys? Welcome back to my prep for the Chicago Pro. I am now currently 12 weeks out from it, and if you didn't see the last video, you can look at it right here. I was 14 weeks out, and that'll get you caught up to date on everything that's been going on. A lot has happened in 2 weeks. Back last 2 weeks ago, I was 236 in that last video. This morning I woke up at 231.8, so it's actually my new low weight for the day. Looking back, like my weight had been slowly coming down. I ended up adding in an extra 10 minutes of cardio just to push a little bit harder, and that's when I hit like around 233 about 7 days after that last video. And I ended up doing another refeed day with a little bit more food in it. I did 500 grams of carbs. I ended up dropping weight after it, so it just but I woke up harder with a little bit of fullness, not a lot. So I know for next refeed I can definitely do more, but it definitely gives me a look into what my physiological state is. I think on that refeed, seeing the weight drop for one, had a long day, energy expenditure was higher, digestion was good, so I don't think a change in that influenced the weight change. I also think it kind of sped me up slightly. So what I ended up doing after this last refeed was adding a little bit more food in. So if you look at that last video, I had done the same thing after the refeed. So I am being able to keep adding little bits of food in and speed up metabolic rate a little bit doing so. So I added 30 grams of carbs in, had 15 grams to my meal one and 15 grams pre-workout. Just at that time, like post-cardio, get a larger size meal in to just kind of restore glycogen, and then right before training make sure glycogen's topped off. So try to really focus it all around training. For today, I'm going to be training hamstrings, so we'll get into that workout. I did my cardio this morning, 35 minutes on the stairs. I go 5 minutes on level 5, 5 minutes level 6, and I do the rest of the duration on like a level 7. And every morning, what I think has really made a big difference in my waist for control, not necessarily like shrinking it. I think I can vacuum more, so it does shrink in that sense. But I've been doing just sets of going into like my most muscular pose, flexing, and then vacuuming, and I'll explain it more. You can check that out. So guys, what I've been doing after cardio every day is just practicing holding my abs and trying to build conditioning and endurance in my abs, because last year on stage it was hard to keep a good abdominal contraction, and also I wasn't having enough like spinal flexion over to really make my abs pop. That, and then I've been practicing doing my abdominal vacuums, so just to have much better waist control overall. So I've just been going into holding my abs in like a most muscular, blowing out my air, and then pulling in to a vacuum, then going back into my most muscular abdominal contraction until my abs feel pretty fatigued, and trying to build that up over time. Moving forward for the rest of the day, we'll head to the gym. I've had 2 meals so far, and train hamstrings, and I'll explain kind of what's happened with my hamstring and go from there. Guys, up here at the Muscle Factory, gonna train hams and glutes. My last hamstring workout, I strained my hamstring. I tore it a little bit. I mean, a strain is a tear, so it's just the severity of it is what's the difference, which I think it was fairly minor. I'd done lying leg curls, I went on to stiff leg deads, and I was on my 4th build-up set to my work set. 2nd rep, I felt at the very bottom this little pop, little twinge. I dropped the weight immediately and just stopped for the day. I have the Neufit machine, which I showed in the last video a little bit before quad training, which is a great tool for rehab to use. I've been using it several times a day just to prevent that tissue from like tightening up and shortening. It can drastically increase the healing process. And so I've been using that. So I'm going to train hamstring today, but I will train it only with the Neufit on. The simple explanation is that it's much safer to train with machine on. than without. You can kind of hijack the nervous system and prevent some of the mechanisms that could potentially cause a tear to happen to a greater degree. So I can train the machine and be very safe doing so. The machine produces a resistance in the muscle, so also the load I use will be significantly less than what I normally do. Also the volume I do will be much less because the machine works you very, very hard. So I'll go through this workout, and as far as the tear goes, like, it doesn't bother me doing cardio during daily activity. So I really think within 2 weeks I should be like 100% back to lifting weights normally. Might do some more sessions with the Neufit just to be safe, but I will pad up my hamstrings, glutes, and go through training just like that. So the tear where I felt it was right on the lateral aspect of the hamstring, fairly low, probably like bicep femoris. It's like one of the outer heads. So what I have as far as hookup is I have one side of the machine that's just gonna hit my glutes, and I have the other side of the machine that'll just hit hamstrings, and I can separate them out. So in some moves, if it's like a glute hamstring move together, I'll can turn them both on at the same time. If I'm doing like a leg curl, I don't want my glutes activated, I can just do hamstrings. So that's how I'll split it, and I can adjust the current to each one too. But I'm going to start with lying leg curls to work the hamstrings first, and then slowly move into glutes from there. So one thing I have changed is my intra-workout drink. I'm using 50 grams of carbohydrates from pomegranate juice. Got this from Dante Trudell, so all credit goes to him for it, but the health benefits to it, if I'm going to use some type of carb source during training, might as well use something that has some other phytonutrients and other benefits outside of just being a carb source. So pomegranate juice, one has a protective effect for nitric oxide, so it potentially could help with blood flow. It also has good blood pressure effects, and it actually has been shown to reverse plaque buildup in arteries. So great benefits. As far as training goes, it's a mix, half and half glucose fructose, which there's actually could be improved absorption versus just using glucose and fructose alone. And in studies looking at glucose and fructose consumed together, there's a higher carbohydrate oxidation versus one alone. So it's very well easily utilized, is all I'm saying. You could argue that maybe the antioxidants could reduce some of the oxidative stress during training, possibly enhancing recovery, but also maybe limiting the stimulus that muscle breakdown has on the hypertrophy response. But overall, I think all the benefits outweigh any little minor things that could possibly be a hindrance, which I can't find that in the research to validate. But anyway, that's one train for intra-workout. For lying leg curl, I am probably going to do 2 working sets and see how high I can get the machine up. I'm not going to go any higher than like 35 pounds in leg curl. I just won't need it. It will be safer too. But with the machine, I'll probably think I can get to muscular failure. So I did 1 set. I'm going to jump into 2 working sets now. So now moving on to barbell stiff leg deadlift. It's pretty much the same workout I did when I hurt my hamstring. I'm gonna go really light on these. This movement would be my most vulnerable. So I'm just gonna build up slow. I know if I can get to like 405 with the machine on, I could probably train on my own. Definitely won't be doing that today because I was at 5 plates when I felt my hamstring pop a little bit. So I'm thinking maybe 1 plate, maybe a 1 plate and a quarter. Just really controlling the reps, pausing at the bottom, trying to make it hard as possible, and just build up. Pretty much the rule of thumb is like, if you feel pain, don't go that far. You know, go right before you feel a little bit of pain occurring. So that's kind of my gauge, is how I feel. Of course, the machine, I'm going to get a really good contraction, and keeping it strict will be more so. So that was plate and quarter each side, 185. But I maxed out the machine, so I can change the voltage on it. It goes up to 100. So I was at 100, which which is extremely well. If you have a tear and it's on that muscle, you can train at 100 of that. You're doing very, very well with your neural activity connection with it. So, I'm gonna do one more set here, and then probably call it for stiff legs and move on. All right, so I'm moving on to training glutes. I still have my hamstrings on a lower voltage, but my glutes, I can train them really hard, so I'll turn them up really high and on a different frequency that'll make them contract harder. Set up on glute bridges, so for one, I'm just gonna work up to like 2 hard sets, but at least for when you're setting up your own glute bridge, make sure the bench behind you is right below your scapula. That'll make the lever shorter of your back and take less spinal erector at it. If you have the bench way up on your traps, it makes that lever really long from your pivot point and will load your lower back a lot. So keep it shorter, stay more upright. To take some quad out of the movement, I use this elevated platform. It's right at 30 degrees. You could also probably put like maybe a 25 under your toe, but that way your knee shifts back some from the ankle. You get a little less knee flexion, so less quad involvement. So you'll be able to drive back some more, use more hamstring and glute involved in the movement. So last thing for hams glutes, moving on to kind of a goblet squat, but using the belt squat system. Sorry, I'm out of breath. So my first move for hamstrings was use a movement that shortened the hamstring, like the lying leg curl. Went on to a move that lengthened the hamstring, like the Romanian Deadlift. I hit a move for glutes that shortened the glute, so Glute Bridge. Now to lengthen the glutes out, I want some form of a squat with a lot of hip flexion. So I'll do 2 sets here, and then move on to adductors and calves. All right, so finishing out leg training, I'm just gonna do our Adductor Machine. It's a pretty light stack, so I go pretty high in reps. Make sure I pause when I'm at peak contraction. And usually probably hit somewhere between 20 and 25 reps. Just 2 work sets here. I think it's a great way to get a really complete full leg, get a lot of good width from the front and back. So I've been finishing out quad sessions and hamstring sessions with the adductor. All right, last thing, hitting calves. I'm doing a standing calf raise, the Neufit machine. We have a little board made so I can get enough ankle flexion and get good range of motion with it. And I'm going to superset it with a anterior tibialis raise. So it's training both fronts, portions of the calf. For the standing calf raise, I'm just working up to a hard set of 12 reps. And then I'm going to rest pause it. So I'll rest 20 seconds, go to failure again, rest 20 seconds, and go to failure again. I'm going to do a 5-second pause in the full stretch position. So it should just burn like hell. I think that's calves respond very well, but I want to be progressive about it. So every time I come to the gym, that total rep number I hit for those rest pause sets and weight, I'm trying to beat that every single time. So just like any other muscle group, you need to be progressive, moving up in weight, reps, the volume with calves. On the anterior tibialis routes, I won't do that. I'm just gonna stay like 15 to 20 reps on straight sets. And that'll wrap up calves. The whole time, to be successful in bodybuilding, there's a definite mentality that you have to have every time you come in the gym. Some people it's innate, some people can train it, some people will just never have it. But that tenacity to train hard and leave nothing on the table is what it takes to keep improving. Especially those last few reps that you question if you have another one, and the reps you just go for. And that's what you have to do all the time. Those same reps in prep and off season feel a lot different than they feel in prep. In prep, they're gonna challenge you more. There's more mental fatigue along with physical fatigue. So that's when really it truly shows what someone's made of, is when you can push into those reps that people don't want to go to. But that's what makes a difference when you get on stage and you're rock hard and you have that density look. Like, you can see someone that trains that way and has that mentality when what they bring to stage. So I encourage you, go all out in your training at all times.